Welcome back to the end of the Ironcast Company of Heroes 3 Mini Stress Test Tournament. If you are watching this video without seeing any of the other matches first, I can only assume you've decided to watch these matches in reverse order, you barbarian! And I wish you all the best, but if you are not, you already know that Lidledede has won this mini-tournament, and this match 3 was uploaded as counter-espionage tactics. Just helps ease the spoilers. But if you want to stick around, we've got a great bonus match to get through. So, keeping with tradition, leading the Wehrmacht and winner of this mini-stress test tournament, it's Lidledede! Some of you British people may have noticed they've chosen the Poundland dog as their mascot. Now, trying to be fast, trying to be furious, they came in second place in a tournament that wasn't even a race. It's Rathem Stason! So, as we mentioned, Lidledede has won, and their prize was one free crime of their choosing, provided the police never find or catch them. Sadly, I've lost contact with Lidledede, so I can only assume they are somewhere far away on a beach, sipping some hot vodka. Best wishes, Lidledede. Now, this bonus match gives me an opportunity to explain some things I'd like to do with Company of Heroes 3. I love the game a lot, and I want to show it off to everyone around the world, get them playing. For the people that know me, you know I work with After Effects and Blender and other editing software. Do you remember the World Conquest mode from the old Command & Conquer games? I can't remember which one. I want to create something like that. This, as you see on screen, this makeshift territory map with each section pertaining to a certain map, and then bring in community commanders to fight it out and claim those territories in a world war. This isn't how it would look in Final. I just scratched that up in 15 minutes to add some visual explanation. The real thing would look better, hopefully. To do this, though, I'm going to need commanders who are interested in doing such a thing. We can create our own war stories, maybe some history to it. We can make it so commanders only have one life, or you can't change battle groups. Teams will choose which commander to send out against their opposing commander. There's all kinds of ideas that need shaping and forming, and maybe you can help with that. So come on down to the discord.me/Ironcast and just get chatting. I'm going to be looking into the map editor for Company of Heroes 3 as well. I'm not unfamiliar with editors. If you too are wanting to make maps for Company of Heroes, maybe we can share our experiences together and share knowledge, make some maps for the Company of World War series, whatever the hell the name will be. I haven't even got a name for it yet. Maybe you have an idea. Anyway, shots are fired. Let's give this game a little casting respect it deserves, though I am going to be chill on this one. The Axis and the Allies have converged on this point. 2 infantry sections, 2 grenadier squads. And I love these early battles. You see infantry getting into cover, the British infantry using that long stretch of wall, but the Grenadiers don't have that much heavy cover to them. The 2nd Grenadier Squad has to make do with some light boxes they found. When the infantry section get over the wall, it just all looks fabulous. Like, this is raw tactics. Grenadiers do find themselves some heavy cover as they fall back. So you've got Lidledede saying, I do want to fight, but if we're going to fight, I want to do it in a more favorable position. Rathem Stason, on the other hand, thinking, well, I must have done some good damage at the start of this fight, and I'd like to follow it up. So that's why the positions end up shifting and the battle ends up evolving. So long this firefight has been that another Grenadier squad has come up, and all of the squads push up together because they have the numerical advantage. That's fantastic. You see, in normal RTS games, the problem is that players aren't allowed to think about tactics and strategies and what they're doing in a battle. They have to constantly be constructing and harvesting and micromanaging every finger digit on a peasant or a drone. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love playing those games. I'm a huge old school Command & Conquer fan. I did a lot of Age of Empires. Didn't do much StarCraft, but I really liked StarCraft 2 on release. But Company of Heroes is where tactics and strategy are the forefront of gameplay. In StarCraft or Age of Empires, tactics and strategies are reserved for high-level play, because the way to climb ranked in those games is to be faster at building, get an army out faster, attack early, learn to harass, have a practiced, predetermined build. Anyone that's got, I'm going to say, gold and above, has sat down against AI and just practiced their build to get it online at the right time and looked at guides on how to do that. But in Company of Heroes, it's almost the opposite. It's all the little micro tricks that aim to tip the scales at the top level of play. If you want to rank up in Company of Heroes 1v1 and you're lower in rank, then you need to get good at flanking and positioning your units and understanding really the core fundamentals of basic tactics and strategies. Good grenade dodge, loving the half-track that's out. I think this is the earliest half-track I've seen from Lidledede. And they got plenty of grenadiers to reinforce as they push up. Rathem Stason already with an AT rifle. Now, sometimes Rathem Stason has ended up decreasing their power by getting the AT rifle just blindly, because it's not going to be as effective against infantry. Ooh. I'm not sure if they got out of the building in time there, but they will get out alive at least. Something else that is really good about Company of Heroes is upgrades aren't always upgrades. So, you know, getting those AT rifles out early when there's no light vehicle present on the field, and that has happened in a few of the matches that Rathem Stason played. They just had this AT rifle, which doesn't help you against infantry when the only thing on the field is infantry. So you have to think about your upgrades. In contrast to other RTS games, upgrades will just... they will be improving your unit's performance no matter what. It might not improve it as much, because maybe it's more effective against X or Y, but it will still be an improvement. In Company of Heroes, it can be decreasing the performance. It's all based on what you are up against. Flames flinging both ways here. But it's the British that are getting pushed back. They do get that half-track though. Well played. Shutting that down nice and early. Lidledede should have been a lot more careful with that half-track. Oh, they found the Kettenkrad as well with the AT rifle squad. There's a Wehrmacht sniper picking away at an infantry section in the middle of the map. Already wounded, though. Lidledede is getting absolutely hammered. Rathem Stason laying mines in the middle. I think Lidledede sees it, though. Will they get a minesweeper pioneer? Probably not. Rathem Stason has gone for the Indian Artillery Battle Group, which I think suits them the most. The Gurkha rifles all round give a solid performance, and the abilities are relatively easy to get use out of. There's many things which we didn't get to see in the tournament, or are difficult to even see. One of the abilities in the Indian Artillery Battle Group is getting resources for killing enemy infantry or vehicles. You don't have to wipe the whole squad, just killing any infantry soldier, I think, grants manpower, and killing vehicles grants fuel. It might be infantry gives munitions. And the reason why this is unknown, by the way, is because the ability description doesn't actually tell you this, but in the Discord, the conversation popped up, and one of the developers responded saying this is how it works, and everyone was quite surprised. So yeah, some of the ability descriptions need a bit more information to them. We didn't get to see the Dingo, which is the British early game vehicle, the little car. The machine gun on the back. It can distribute medical aid to nearby troops, which is really cool. It's a interesting early game power. Southern Victory Point. Under a lot of heavy fire, the sniper backing up the grenadiers. And the infantry section must clear off. The sniper really needs a medic. And the infantry section trying to chase a little bit just to get those last few shots off. Humber appearing on the field. The Humbers have not done any kind of service for Rathem Stason. The last 3 Humbers they built were immediately sent to the scrapyard, added to the pile of other Humbers which never fired a shot. Oh my god. This is like a South Park meme. Okay, here's your Humber, and it's gone. What? Yep, it's gone. Whirlwind took it. You what? It just got here. That whirlwind will wreck that Humber, and the AT rifles won't stand a chance. They'll be torn up before getting enough shots off. I mean, they're gonna have to try and hit it from the side or the rear as well, which just ain't gonna happen. The Whirlball goes to the middle and uses the hunker down ability. Lidledede will use that to cover their infantry as they take the victory point. It's a pretty simple plan. Let's see what goes wrong. Jaegers stand on the point. They're going to use smokes. I'm not sure if Rathem Stason sees that Whirlball yet. And they especially won't see it with the smoke grenade popped. Whirlball inching forward, inching backwards. It is undecided. I guess it realizes it doesn't need to be there anymore, so it's just backing out, just in case Rathem Stason has anything that might pose a threat. Lidledede occupies the main building. They only managed to get a decap on that middle victory point. So Lidledede has gone for the Luftwaffe. Luftwaffe battle group. American spy! As the German soldier points to the guy guzzling on a triple whopper. No. Oh god. Luftwaffe. Luftwaffe, not necessarily the best. I think the breakthrough battle group is, I mean, my best. You've got the MP40 upgrades for the Grenadiers, giving you amazing up-close potential. Oh, let me see the strafing run. Oh, you see the effects of it. It did suppress and pin 2 squads, which I'm highly surprised at. Didn't look like it was on top of them. The breakthrough battle group also has the cargo truck, which increases resources. You can get that very early on. Then there's the increased territory capture on infantry, which is fantastic. And then there's a choice between a Tiger or a Panzer IV command tank. The Tiger, of course, giving you immense late-game power if you can get to that. To me, the breakthrough battle group is just very simple and balanced. The Luftwaffe is a bit more specific. The Stuka Loiter is amazing, of course, great against enemy tanks, and especially if they're getting more than 1 or 2 out. You have to choose between the Whirlwind or 25% reduced reinforcement costs for infantry. That's a hard choice to make, I feel. And then you've got a flak anti-tank gun emplacement, which is strong, sure, but I feel that's something that's very easy to counter. Overall, Luftwaffe feels like you've got to think a bit about what you're choosing. Ooh, the Humber! Managed to get the sniper. It couldn't have taken anything else more valuable from the Wehrmacht. Great job, and this will be hard to believe, but it managed to escape as well. It did get Panzer Fausted, I think. I think that's the noise I heard. Taking a glimpse of that tactical map, yeah. It's just this massive line of war down the middle. Love it. So many firefights. So many places to try and flank and outmaneuver your opponent. Maybe winning one engagement here allows a squad to progress and flank another squad. And Company of Heroes can have very transformative battles. In the first Company of Heroes, which I casted a lot of, there were some very memorable games where 2 players engaged each other at the 1 minute 30 mark, and there wasn't silence until 8-9 minutes in. So at least 6 minutes of constant fighting, constant fingers on the trigger action. And that's what I want from Company of Heroes 3, and the game is certainly set up that it's certainly possible for that to happen. Interestingly, Lidledede seems to be struggling ever so slightly. Whirlwind advances alone, finds the Gurkha squad. Unlucky for them, they go on a mine as well. And there's a AT gun, I think a 6-pounder. Yes, for the Brits. Sitting on the road with a clear shot on that Whirlwind. And that's a 3-cap in effect for Rathem Stason. Their battalion has high morale too, if that's what I'm going to call it. The difference in veterancy is what I'm referring to, and it is outstanding. The only real threat is the Whirlwind, which they seem to have a handle on. Lidledede moving topside. And I want to point out, notice how they move, by the way. It's not as one big group. It's all nicely scattered. This large fanning out approach is to give them intel, and then based on whatever they find, they can move the chess pieces and adapt. Whirlwind sat at the back, not leading the charge, and whenever Lidledede thinks that they can bring that Whirlwind in to some effect, then they'll move it up, like here. It might even score them a Ved 2 infantry section. No! Unlucky. Artillery will stave off the capture of this victory point, but because Lidledede fanned out, they were at least able to decap the middle one. Another strafing run called in. Such a massive amount of time to dodge, though. Panzer Grenadiers went for the cutoff point, which I think is interesting. They have to duck behind a wall, though. Really good map design, by the way. The placement of that wall and the capture point, or the strategic point there, is bang on. That's all I can say on that one. Whirlwind coming in. Taking some AT fire, Humber getting some side shots. Got a pack covering the Whirlwind. Whirlwind very slow to retreat out of there, but plenty of time to play with. Needs to get further back and get some Pioneer emergency repairs. The British begin to advance, and the Wehrmacht army, this advance force, looks battered already. It's unlikely, without that Whirlwind at least, they'll be able to offer enough resistance to hold on to this victory point. So they'll be re-threatened with a 3-cap. Grenadier squad might be lost here. Yep, it's gone! Lidledede is down to just 3 squads! Oh no! Now they are calling in some Fallschirmjägers on the bottom victory point. So that brings our squad count back up to 4, and they are elite infantry. How elite? Well, we don't quite know just yet. It's very difficult to ascertain the strengths of units because obviously with all the range differences and the firing on the move and how many squad members there are in each thing and the upgrades, there's just so many variables in play that you can never just outright say this squad will win against that one. Fallschirmjägers do decap that point. 1. Oh my god! Such a brave soldier. I'm not sure what happened there. Definitely not following the chain of command. I think they were trying to throw a grenade. I mean, actually, I'm pretty adamant that they are trying to throw a grenade, but why that one soldier ran that far up to go do it, I do not know. But it definitely shouldn't have worked like that. Unfortunate for the Fallschirmjägers. I mean, there's gonna be things like that happen. Hopefully they'll be fixable. I remember in Company of Heroes 1 and the second one, vehicle crushing was a bit odd. That's also a hot debate because vehicle crushing currently isn't in Company of Heroes 3 at the moment, which I'm personally in favor of at the moment. I do want vehicle crush though. I just want it to work like an actual crush effect, because what would commonly happen is soldiers just run into the side of tanks and essentially get themselves killed, rather than like seeing a tank going 30-40 miles per hour and running over some soldiers. And, you know, it feels like they wouldn't have had a chance to dodge it based on the circumstances. Nice grenade. So there might be Vehicle Crush in Company of Heroes 3. It's just kind of speculation at the moment. But I think because this is all on a brand new engine, that they are trying to work it out to make it better. And I hope that is the case, because, you know, we like the realism component. Oh my god, in Company of Heroes 1 you had the thing called the crab flail that you could stick on front of the Sherman. That thing was really cool. You think of a tank wielding a flail, essentially, and all it does is just strips the land in front of it, trying to find a mine. It was an amazing way to clear mines out. In Company of Heroes 2, there was another fantastic unit called the Bulldozer, which had the Bulldozer Sherman. And this thing would, like, you put the Bulldozer down, you drive the tank forward, and it digs up the dirt and creates this wall, like this heavy cover. Well, not like, it is heavy cover that your units can hide behind. So brilliant. There's so many great ideas from both Company of Heroes 1 and 2, which I'd love to see. Rathem Stason had an easy enough time recapturing all 3 victory points. Now they're going to be challenged by the Jaeger squad, the Panzer Grenadier squad, and the regular Grenadier squad. One of each flavor. If only Rathem Stason had played like this in the other 2 games. It just goes to show you, though, that... I don't know how to kind of word this, but in games like StarCraft and Age of Empires, I feel like a little bit of skill difference essentially leads to a scenario where the other player just always wins. You know, the player that has a little bit more skill always wins. There's a bit more breadth to Company of Heroes. It makes this a great game to play against friends. If you've experienced StarCraft 2 with friends, my experience is there's a clear hierarchy. This player wins against that one, always. That player wins against this one, always. And it's usually decided based on the first battle. Once that army is defeated, there's just no coming back. It's game over. This can't happen in Company of Heroes. And it's an absolute gem to watch the replays back and say, okay, you could have done this and I could have done this better. It doesn't look like Lidledede has managed to touch one of the victory points with their grubby little hands. Which means it's a very British victoire for Rathem Stason. I don't have too many closing notes since the tournament was over 1 match ago. Be sure to join the Discord if you want to chat, whether it's just in general or about the game, about the world editor and making maps, or about video production. I'm sure there's some other things in there. I'm also going to be streaming the game, and I haven't streamed in a long time. I'd certainly appreciate some Company of Heroes to, well, probably torment me. Other than that, though, have a sweet day. My name's Inuki. Hope to see you soon.
Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251 available. Enemy infantry! Enemy infantry have opened fire! Grenadier! Come on! Grenadiers going on the offensive! We will return this point to our control! We work orders, Grenadiers! We move! Standing by for order! What do you need to do? Always say lucky day. Grenadiers! Stop! Attacking! On your feet! Eyes on the move orders! We are down to 200 points. The enemy holds all victory points.